Hi, welcome to Healing the Trauma Within. In this session, I am talking with Kimberlee Plezia, and we are going to talk about how to go from damaged to beautiful. Let me tell you about Kimberlee. She is a certified life coach and podcaster with a focus on making a meaningful impact in the lives of others. She draws her inspiration for what she does from her own life. As a childhood sexual assault survivor and recovered addict, Kimberlee has a very unique perspective that allows her to build relationships with her clients and listeners. Kimberlee is also a wife, mother, and grandmother. So she holds many different life lessons that she uses to encourage others. When she's not working, you can find her spending time with her husband, John, and their family. Welcome, Kimberlee.
Thank you so much.
Well, I'm thrilled to have you here. And this is a great topic because as trauma survivors, we definitely feel damaged.
Definitely. I will totally 100% agree.
And to make that leap from feeling damaged, feeling broken, feeling worthless to feeling beautiful again that's a big leap. So where do we even begin?
Really, I mean, I could kind of start at the beginning. At the age of 8, I was sexually assaulted for over a year, but by my stepfather, which gave me a very messed up view of what love was supposed to look like. Even though I had other family members that loved me the way I was supposed to be loved, the lessons that my stepfather taught me stayed with me. Took that into later relationships. I've been married. I'm on my third marriage. My first marriage was kind of a joke. He wanted a green card. I thought I was in love because I didn't really understand what love was. He ended up becoming very abusive after I got pregnant because that was not part of his game plan. After I was thrown against a wall at 9 months of being pregnant, that was kind of my last straw. I had our daughter, tried to do the right thing and work things out. Left him when my daughter was 6 months old. Went through the divorce, handled all of that, went into my second marriage. He started out being very manipulative, very controlling, very emotionally abusive, mentally abusive. Physical abuse didn't start until a couple years in. And one of the results of that physical abuse was a slight tear in my rotator cuff. Ended up getting started on Dilaudid, which is a very, very high dose painkiller, and became addicted. I don't blame my second husband for my addiction. The minute I put a needle into my own arm, I own my addiction. I spent 8 years as an addict. Addict behavior is not typical behavior. I ended up tolerating a lot more than I ever thought I would. Not only, the abuse, the physical, mental, emotional abuse. He was cheating on me. It was just so bad. July 25th of 2013 or 2014, excuse me, my second husband passed away. 2 days later, I tried to take my own life because I just didn't know how to handle anything. I didn't have coping skills. At that point, my family got me help and I went into rehab for 8.5 months. In rehab, I finally learned what love was supposed to look like. I learned what I was worth. I learned how to love myself and how to receive love from others and what I should expect. So I came back from rehab, changed my entire circle of friends, had to really make some life changes, got involved in a church. Due to a church assignment, that's how I met my current husband. And I gotta say, we joke that I kissed a whole lot of frogs before I found a prince. But when John and I met, I sat him down and I was like, look, this is what I need. This is what I deserve. This is what I'm worth. And if you can't give me that, that's fine. But if you're going to say you're going to do it, then you better own it. And it's been a totally different life since then.
Wow. That's quite an amazing story of definitely going from damaged to beautiful in so many ways. Thank you for sharing that. That's very courageous.
Of course.
What are some of the things maybe that you learned in rehab that helped you to, finally figure out what your worth was, and start to love yourself?
Well, the rehab that I went to was a faith-based program. And so I spent a lot of time, not only, in the Bible, which I'm a Christian, that is my faith, but we had other books that we had to read that they were faith-based books, but it wasn't necessarily the Bible. And there were a lot of books that I read, written by women, that really kind of sparked something in me, and made me really evaluate who I was and what I deserved. And I think it really helped being away from everybody, that I really had to lean in on myself. And it gave me time to really reflect on things and reflect on who I was and who I wanted to be. And I think that made a huge difference, just kind of figuring out, who or what made me who I was, and looking at all those little things inside. One of the things that I had to do was write letters to myself. And I wrote letters about everything. You name it, I wrote about it. I wrote about physical characteristics. I wrote about, my heart, my relationship to myself. And that isolation, even though there were other people in rehab with me, having that time away from everybody that I knew really gave me time to work on the things I didn't like. And I was able to kind of pinpoint them at that point.
Okay. I love the idea of writing letters to yourself. And I'm assuming they're very loving, kind letters.
Not always.
Not always. Okay.
Not some of them weren't.
Yeah.
Some of them really, I wrote letters, acknowledging the hurts that I caused other people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not always kind.
That's true.
That was hard.
Yeah.
But it was a matter of being able to forgive myself. I had to acknowledge those hurts before I could forgive myself and ask others to forgive me for the hurts that I caused them.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't always a pleasant thing. And I still, to this day, I write letters to myself. I will, grab a piece of paper and write a quick love note to myself, just because I need that little pick me up. And I, find myself writing letters to people that I'll never send the letter, but I write it down because it's a way of purging it out of my system.
Absolutely. Almost like journaling.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very similar to journaling.
Only instead of just getting it out, you're actually writing it in a letter.
Mm-hmm.
So I think both either or a combination would work great for people.
I totally agree.
I love that you mentioned forgiving yourself, because I think that one of the biggest steps in our healing from our traumas is forgiving ourselves. And that's, not for necessarily, I'm not saying like, I have to forgive myself because I went out and got drunk and got raped. That's, no, I don't have to forgive myself for that because that wasn't my fault. But my actions, my feelings, my emotions after that, or, and throughout my life, those I have to own.
Mm-hmm.
And
100%.
that's what's hard to forgive.
I completely agree. And when it comes down to it, forgiveness is not for the other person.
No.
It is for ourselves, because the more that we hold on to things, whether it's things that we've done to ourselves, things we've done to others, whatever, the harder we hold on to it, the more damage it causes.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a matter of releasing that. It's a toxin that you're purging from your body.
Yep. Absolutely. And, I love forgiveness is definitely not about the others. And in my opinion, you don't even necessarily have to forgive the others, those who have harmed against us. Everybody's different, everybody believes different, and you definitely can. But what I have found was, for me, forgiving myself led to, I guess, in a way, forgiving them, but it was just a way for me to be able to detach the emotion from the trauma. So now when I talk about it, when I think about it, it's almost as if I'm just, talking about the weather.
Well, and even when it comes to forgiving others, just because you forgive someone does not mean that you are saying their actions were acceptable. It is saying that you are no longer giving them that power over you. That is what forgiving others is about. Again, it's not for them. I could care less if somebody accepts, my forgiveness or whatever. I've given it out. I've released that. And I've taken back the power on that. And they no longer have that power.
That's a great way to look at it. And you don't have to call them up and say, hey, I forgive you. You just forgive them.
Exactly.
And just kind of let it go.
Exactly.
What are some other tools that you learned or that you use to find your self-worth, to continue loving yourself?
Aside from, the letter writing, I am a person that I don't necessarily do daily affirmations,
Mm-hmm.
but I find myself putting little sticky notes on my bathroom mirror or little reminders on my phone. I'll have a reminder pop up on my phone of "You're awesome." Little TikTok videos that are really empowering, that have that message of, you are a queen. I actually joined a group on Facebook, the Queens Only Club, and we send each other tiaras to lift each other up and remind everybody, remind these women that we are queens, we are empowered, we are amazing. And it's really a matter of, a lot of it that I learned was who you choose to be around and what messages you choose to take in. I can hear other people, say things, and there's, all the fat phobia and stuff like that that I have dealt with. People will make jokes, people will say things, and it's how I choose to respond. And it's a matter of ownership of that response.
Right. And you got to remember, what they say about you is a reflection on you, it's a reflection on them.
100%.
What about the things that you say to yourself, though? Because
So
we can definitely be pretty mean to ourselves.
Oh, we definitely can. That is something that I have learned to find a silver lining in it. I joke that I'll find different parts of my body that I cannot stand. And a prime example is my chin. I hate my chin. I have the world's biggest double chin, I feel like. But it serves a purpose. It has a positive attribute. Because if I fall asleep while I'm watching a movie, I have a nice comfy pillow.
There you go.
It's built in. So it's a matter of we're never going to 100% like every little thing about ourselves.
Sure.
But I try to find a purpose in that thing that I don't like. And I will repeat that until I come to a point of acceptance of that part. And then move to a different part.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. And and you mentioned affirmations. I love affirmations. I love positive quotes. Those are really great for me, but they're not for everybody.
I find, I see quotes everywhere, and there are a lot of them that I'll screenshot to my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I'm randomly looking through pictures, I'll come across one. I was like, oh yeah, I did save that.
Mm-hmm.
And it always seems to hit right at the right moment. So
Oh, yeah.
I do that a lot. I just find them on Facebook and I screenshot them or download them.
Mm-hmm. I have an entire Pinterest board dedicated to inspirational and motivational quotes.
I love that idea.
Yeah. So when I need to, I just go and scroll, and there they all are.
Absolutely love that.
Yeah.
I may have to copy that.
Go for it. I think all of you go for it. Create a Pinterest board for inspirational quotes. Head on over to my Pinterest page and just copy them from you. Anyway, well, Kimberlee, thank you so much for coming on, sharing a little bit about you. I truly appreciate your courage and bravery in sharing your story with us, and
Of course.
giving ideas and some tips on how we can begin to love ourselves.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
It's been a pleasure. And listeners, thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk to you in one of the other sessions.